various locations. If you're interested in hosting us, let us know. We have room for about 200 people. If you would like to sponsor us, let us know. Talk to Lance back in the room there. He can talk to you about sponsorship opportunities. If you'd like to speak in front of our group,
it's good.
let us know.
You're not hearing that?
Yeah, well, it's going to be horrible on the camera.
These are our board members. We are a great team working together. First off is Bill Hurley. He is responsible for putting our website together and keeping everything going. Next we have Krista, who is back there tweeting for us today. And I'm Emily. I take care of making sure the finances are in line. These guys make sure they're spending the sponsorship money wisely. And we have Tyler. Where's Tyler? He is responsible for just keeping us going. He's been taking on the secretary duties now. And Jeff Powers is back in our AD room, I guess we're calling it, taking care of making sure that this event is videoed today. And Lance is our sponsorship person. Renee is just walking in the room right now. She is responsible for making sure that the Eventbrite invitations go out. Tony is not with us today, but he is the person that keeps us all organized and keeps us in line. And Mike Walsh, who is also not with us, we'll be talking about him a little bit later. But he is also responsible for making sure, keeping our Facebook and our Twitter feeds going for you. And Bob is our photographer over here taking pictures.
Welcome back, Bob.
So you can follow us in many different ways. We have a website, social media breakfast, or SMBMad.org. On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SlideShare, TinyURL, YouTube, and SMBMad@gmail.com if you want to email us. Next month, we have Garrison Cummings from Green Bay Packers. Make sure that if you have topics that you would like him to talk about, make sure you tweet him at GW Cummings as to what you want him to speak about. Very good math choices. Same with our Brewers sponsor that's going to be here in April. On May 21st, we have Christopher Parr, but that's going to be here from TBS. Other events, on April 8th, the American Marketing Association is having a No Excuses Marketing, Demonstrate Value and Drive Results, 6th Annual Madison Marketing Conference. Anybody, there's somebody here that knows about that? Where it is? Yay? What?
It's at the Alliant Energy Center at the Exhibition Hall.
Okay. Anything else we should know about it?
It's going to be a great lineup of speakers, and we're really excited. It's a full day, full schedule, and there's breakfast, lunch, and a happy hour. So.
Okay. And what's your name?
I'm Kelly.
Kelly. If anybody wants more information, see what I'm And we talked about Mike a little bit. He is out on, I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, his Flight for Sight. He's using his site right now, so he is out on a mission to see as much of the world as he can. So you can follow both for his next location that he's going to at Flight for Sight, either on Facebook or on Twitter, or he's got a website too. We also have a newsletter that's coming out. Anything we should talk about that?
We're taking the email list from Eventbrite from the signups that we have here, and we're going to be starting a newsletter. So we'll be getting, just by virtue of having signed up for these conferences, we will be getting a newsletter. Right now, we're just going to be doing once a month, so please welcome it and don't send it to the spam folder. And it will be, the first one will be an event recap of today's meeting, link to our website for a full recap. And then we'll have a little something about Mike and this trip and some treats. So we'll see how that goes.
Thank you. And today's presentation, Making Heroes, Warriors, Cheerleaders, and Brand Ambassadors, is brought to you by Our sponsors, we especially wanted to thank Subtle Strauss and Badger Graphics. We had some mix-ups with signs and name tags in the last couple months, and they've been very good to accommodate us. We wanted to give a special shout out to them. American Family is a major sponsor of ours. Charter Business did it direct. Subtle Strauss, CUNA Mutual Group, thank you for hosting us today. Talent Accounting Services, Axley, who is been helping us with getting our nonprofit status and our exempt status. Geekazine, Melissa Carlson Creative, and Badger Graphic Systems. If any of you are here today and want to take just a couple minutes to come up and talk about business, come on up.
Thanks, I'm Michelle Wingate from American Family. 3 things I want to mention is our Dream Bank booth or table right outside the door. We do a drawing every month for just a social media talk with you and a few of your team members and a free lunch. So throw your business card in the pot. Colin Cronky and Tom Ruheim from our social media team recently did a session at the Dream Bank called How to Win the Battle for Your Facebook Newsfeed. And that's on our Google Plus page because we did it as a hangout. So if you weren't able to be there live, go check that out. And Tom is tweeting today from the @AmFam account, and our question today is, who is your favorite storyteller? So tweet us @AmFam with the hashtag SMBMad and tell us who your favorite storyteller is, and we're giving away at the end of the session 2 Marcus Theater gift cards for $25. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Good morning, I'm Sue Racine with CUNA Mutual Group, and I want to welcome all of you to the CUNA Mutual Group campus. While we are focused on the credit union marketplace, do we have credit union members in the audience? That is awesome. That is awesome. So CUNA Mutual Group focuses on providing protection for your credit unions, but you'll see more and more of our consumer brand, True State, which is focused on the consumer. And we are so happy to have you all here and learn from the pros. So thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Hello, I'm Tom Cox with Charter Business. Haven't been one of these for a little bit, but still we want to thank you for letting us be a part of the organization. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces from the last one. Wanted to introduce you to a couple new people to our team. Steve Landry is an additional sales manager covering Wisconsin, and Matt Langer in the back here. So I know many of you know Tom Faust, who is no longer with Charter Business, but so I wanted to introduce you to a couple of our new team members. And as usual, everybody knows I'll be the best man looking around. Talk to us about it. I'm going to see Matt, myself, or Steve. Thank you.
Anybody else? I just wanted to also say quickly too, I know I've talked about this, but if you bring your tax return to me to get completed, there's some cards outside downstairs. Bring that to me, and I am donating 10% of what I make on doing your tax return for you back to social media for West Madison. Our hashtag for today, as always, is SMBMad. And our presenter today, I'm happy to introduce Laura Gallagher from the Creative Company. Let's give her a hand.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Whatever does work. So I'm Laura Gallagher, and I'm here today to share with you the power of a great story. I'm a writer. I'm just like you, trying to live a great life, trying to tell a great story, and build great stories for clients at Creative Company too. But we're all kind of doing the same kinds of things, trying to figure this out, right? What works, what doesn't work. And I think the difference, and the thing that I bring to my game is that I am a writer, and that I understand the power of actually putting some story elements into the posts and things that you're writing, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today in the spirit of making heroes, warriors, cheerleaders, and brand ambassadors. A little bit about my story. I actually started the Creative Company in 1989, as a senior in college. So I didn't really know what I was doing, right? And I started it as a public relations firm. I got a bunch of books from the Madison Library on how to start your own business. And it kind of took off from there. So for the first 10 years, we did some public relations. We did it well enough. But we also started to do advertising, radio, TV, print, billboards, because of course during those years, advertising was king. We're going to fast forward to now, and things have changed, haven't they? So when I first started my business in 1989, there were 3 news stations in town, and Fox had just decided to do a news show at 9 o'clock. And I can remember being at a country club, Black Hawk or something like that, and there was this big launch of the 9 o'clock news, right? And I remember all the naysayers in the room saying, a 4th newscast at 9 o'clock? Who's going to watch that? Like, we don't need a 4th newscast in this marketplace. So back in the day, too, we could, of course, buy, just television and reach almost every eyeball in Wisconsin, and that's changed dramatically as well. And of course, back in the day, you could also tell people what to think, right? We can't do that anymore because we have so many choices, and we each have our own what? Channels. We each have our own channel and our own voice to be able to tell others what we think, right? That's changed dramatically. The other thing is that advertising is more of a push medium. Public relations tends to be more of a pull medium. So I think this has really helped me in terms of what we do in social media, because I understand drawing people towards a story more like a magnet than pushing a story out. Now when you're out there, you're reading social media posts from brands, by and large, would you say that they're engaging or boring? Boring, right. So I'm actually taking a class right now at Northwestern. You need to know that it was my dream to go to Northwestern College or Northwestern University and to actually study at the Kellogg School of Management. It really took me another 20-some years to get there. But they have a wonderful class that you can take online on social media content and creation. And it's like a 6-week class. Highly recommend it. I got all the answers right. So, copy minutes for me, and I just turned in my case study, and now we're doing peer reviews. But in that case study, one of the things that they brought up was where they had you study this company called Shenshi. And Shenshi is a men's clothing company. Now here's an example of a bad post, right? Shenshi is building a brand new manufacturing plant to manufacture their clothes. So what do they post? Anybody? The building, right? Look at our building. Do you think that the guy who's wearing the Shenshi men's clothing line cares or gives a rip about the building? Absolutely not. And so that's an example of a bad post, right? So today, before we leave, I'm going to show you, or give you a list of questions right at the very end of things that you should ask before you post something. Just a real quick gut check to make sure that it's actually aligning with your audience. I'm also going to walk you through the elements of story. And so you'll have those. And we're going to do some group stuff because, I get way more out of you guys, talking and thinking and all that, and you're already social media experts. I'm just another player in the field. I will tell you that I did put out a question a couple days ago to some of my friends on Facebook that I knew would be here today, and I asked them what they most wanted to know. Is Kristen here? Kristen, could you tell them what you wanted to know? Can we get a mic to her?
Sure.
I wanted to know how you balance your social media, the professional side, what you do, because we all know you as this exceptional businesswoman and marketing guru, and your personal posts. They're just so friendly and engaging, and since I've become friends with you, I've always just felt so welcomed into your social circle. So I asked if you have a targeted plan for that.
Yeah, what was the because I thought it was great. You asked if I had some science to this or some
how
strategy.
You decide what you're gonna put out there. Because I always try to have that balance, and you do it so well.
Well, thank you very much. I'm actually just really human, and I always try to think of a person when I'm posting. So I'm going to answer that question right away, and we're going to answer a few more as we go through here. So. 5 years ago, I actually had an epiphany. So like I said, started as a public relations firm, moved into an ad agency space. We sold cars, we sold jewelry, we were really successful. I grew into the top, one of the top earning companies in Wisconsin for a woman-owned business. Because most women-owned businesses do less than $1 million a year. We were doing more than that, which put us in the top 2%. Just for the record, most male-owned companies also do less than $1 million a year. Only 4% of male-owned companies do over $1 million a year. So we grew it to that place, and that was great, except that I wasn't very happy. Now, why wasn't I very happy? Because I'm a writer. Because the core of everything, I love to nurture people, I love to share my words, I want to tell what? Great stories. That's what I'm here to do. I was running a business, and I was doing a lot of heavy lifting and crunching a lot of numbers. That's not my sweet spot. So 5 years ago, I rewrote the business plan. And today, what we've created, I didn't even know that we were that far ahead of the curve. On social media, pretty strong then. And that's really helped us to kind of gain that stronghold there. And it's something that everybody else wanted to know about early. So we were early innovators, just trying to figure it out like you. But it's helped us to represent companies like Physicians Plus, Meriter Hospital, American TV. I know they just made a big announcement this week. We get to all their socials. Invisible Fence and Lawn Bond, many others. And I'll show you those two in the world's largest rock fest. We also continue to do a wonderful job of public relations, doing it both here and across the country, representing local and national brands. Email marketing, our system is used by Metcalf's, Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce, and others. It's a proprietary system, so it's unique in the marketplace, and we have more visual capabilities because of it. Branding, which is mostly your visual brand, making sure that that's really strong. One of the things that I learned I loved at 40 was art. I love art. I love stories, the stories that are told through a painting or through a picture. You know, show, don't tell, and that's actually, everybody got that? Show, don't tell when you're posting, show, don't tell, especially on Facebook. And then events. As much as we like online communities, you also need to bring people into real life communities. There's someone else that I saw here today that I never see in person. I was so happy to see her in real life. So you have to create environments, whether you're a brand or an individual, where people can come together and actually get to know you and connect with you. And then, of course, at the hub of everything is websites. So we now do websites and app development at a high level. And we don't choose that many companies to take on, but we're all about user engagement. So we have a small group at Creative Company. We also have an Emmy Award-winning videographer on our team. He's here today, Mark Turner. And we're all about telling story, and we really want to move into that space more. So keep that in mind if you need great video for your social media. All right, so our agenda today is for me to share with you and for you to walk out of here with the keys to a great story so that you can implement that yourself. The tools that you'll need to make your brand stand out, how to create real engagement, and of course we hope that you'll be promoted to rock star social media status like everyone wants to be, right? First I thought I might show you how my week started, or how this whole thing started for me a week ago. Can everyone read that? Thank you, Mark Lovacott. So, a week ago, I'm actually not a morning person. I don't know if there are any others in here, but I really don't like to get going until about 7:15. I just don't. And so, at about 7:15, I open up my cell phone at my bed, like I'm sure a few of the others of you in this room do, and I see this message from Lovacott, and I'm like, what the heck? Oh my God, was that today? So I quickly fly out to my laptop, I open it up, and I thought, oh my God, he almost gave me a heart attack. So anyway, that's how that started. We exchanged a few fun tweets. Carly Wild got in the action and said, don't give Laura a heart attack, Mark. And here we are today. So with that, and isn't that the fun of social media? I'm actually going to turn it over to you. I want to hear from you, because you're the experts, about who you think is telling a great story on social media. And then I'm going to give you a few examples of people, of some national brands, and then last but not least, some local clients that we work with and how we use message strategy to help them build that story. So find a partner or a couple of people and just take a few minutes and think of a few people or brands that you really love on social media. Just and what characteristics they might have. What do you like about their story? Or why do you like their story? Who do you think is doing it well and right? So either find a partner next to you or a group of people, and we're just going to take a minute and do that, okay? It's a good thing you guys like to talk to each other, right? Okay, hello. Thank you, Mr. Lovacott. So Mark has offered to help me capture some of these notes. Isn't that great? Yeah, everyone give him a round of applause. Okay, so let's get
I need somebody to be a relayer. You can either shout it out or just say, but tell us a quick story. What are some of the best brands that you, brands or people that you are watching out there, and what do they do well and right? Who wants to be the brave first one? In the back.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. What do you love about Dunkin' Donuts?
No, I'll just talk. They do fine very well. They do fine very well. I think they've really mastered the art of the stop motion animation on that particular platform. And also Google Plus. I think they do an excellent job there.
I agree with you. Those are great examples.
How are you, by the way?
Hi, I know. Hi. That's great. Okay, who else? People or brands? Right back here in the back.
I have a person, Conan O'Brien. I think, Conan O'Brien, I think more people read his tweets than watch his show.
I would agree with that.
But in 140 characters, he tells a very good joke.
Yeah, that's great. Next, we had one down here. You want to tell us your name too, as long as you're, once we get a microphone? We'll have everyone do that.
Russ Stevenson, and I'm from American Family, so this is going to sound biased, but I think Russell Wilson does a great job.
Product placement.
He does a great job, I think, using Twitter, not just through the Amfam stuff, the dream stuff, but which I think does give a personal glimpse into his life story, but also a lot of the stuff that he posts on Twitter gives you a little bit of a glimpse into his life behind the scenes. And he doesn't do the standard athlete self-promotion quite the same way. I mean, a lot of his stuff is about his work with Seattle Children's Hospital, and it gives you a good picture of who he is as a person.
Yeah, so maybe, Mark, could you, on the right-hand side, write down some of those characteristics, please, of like they're personal, they're telling a bigger story, maybe a story that you might want to even be involved in yourself. Those are great points. And, you know, making you laugh, that's another key to success in social media, right? Wonderful story. Anybody else over here on this side? Yes?
I would probably say ESPN Sports Center's rocking in social media. We were just talking about here, like the reality is like they tell like what's going on in sports at that moment, but they don't say it like they're a company. They say it like they're a human. They're like, oh my gosh, did you see that dunk right now? Like you follow them and you retweet it. That's personal. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And then they go a step further that their brand is actually propelled by their sports. They work for Sports Center, and they have their own personal accounts. And it's amazing, like they don't have a rein on the people. They let them be pretty free. And Stuart Scott often posts things that like and will reply to people. If they say something harsh, they'll reply pretty harshly. And I love that idea of like, wait, let them defend themselves. So I don't know, their brand's amazing.
Yeah, they're keeping it real, aren't they? And that's because, I mean, what do we go on social for? To connect with other humans, right? Not to connect with a company. Who wants to talk to a company? I don't want to talk to a company. But that's a perfect example. Over here, I thought we had, is that you? Yes?
Thank you. David Eads. I'm going to back up what Russ said a second ago. We kind of talked about American Family and their tweeting, Facebook, and how they're doing a great job. They've got the Dream Bank as well, keeping it local, even though they're a national corporation. Shave of the Month Club.
Shave of the Month Club.
Shave of the Month Club. I don't know how you guys out there have seen their ads, or women out there have seen their ads on Facebook, but they do a great job. Very funny. Draws you in. Very worth watching that. We mentioned a couple local as well. Smaller, Luso Organics out of Baroque, right? Was one, and they're doing a fantastic job. Republic Wireless was another one that was mentioned. So
and why is, what is it about those two brands that you just mentioned that work?
Well, I'm going to pass the microphone off. I wrote them down, although we weren't necessarily my choice. So
okay.
One moment on Luso Organics.
I just talked about Luso Organics because she is 100% personal. She very rarely posts about her brand, but she talks about what they're doing behind the scenes, like you were saying, and gets you interested in their process more so than selling her product.
Yeah, that's a pull strategy instead of a push again, so that's perfect. I'm going to do one more right over here.
Michelle, when
one date, I want to mention 2 local organizations. Liz Lauer, a real estate agent in town, has really beefed up her social media presence. And she's doing a nice mix of local news, tips for your home, and then mixing in her own real estate listings. She's even started a blog. And then the Goodman Center does a great job as a nonprofit, if you're a nonprofit looking for inspiration. So they're doing a great job of thanking their volunteers and sharing pictures of what's going on at the center on Facebook and Twitter.
Perfect. I think that one of the things that is a duplicating theme is that people are connecting with, the ones who are successful connect with your heart in some way, or they make you laugh, or they give you information that makes your life better, right? So those are actually the gut check questions that we're going to ask at the very end. Mr. Lovicott, you did a wonderful job, right, everybody? Thank you, Mark. Isn't that great? All right, so we're going to dive in with a few of my favorites now. This is my friend Ann Sayers. I don't know if any of you know Ann, but she is a wonderful, fun, loving, and what would I call it? Hungry for the kill kind of person. She works for the Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters, and they have been a client of ours in the past. We've helped them elect or help get elected politicians that are more friendly to the environment, and we became friends over the process. So this is back when I was placing more advertising. But this is a picture from her personal page. RIP College Rice Steamer, 1995 to 2014. 19 years is a pretty good run when you consider how much rice I eat. And as anyone who has ever worked at Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters can tell you, it's above average. Right? So she's funny, right? She's just a funny lady. She's also married to Jason, and Jason is in a local band, and they travel, and then they have this wonderful dog. Let me show you a picture of that too. On the left, here she is being a tree hugger. Taking my tree hugging up a notch. Don't try this at home, folks. I'm a professional. Right? Isn't that great? And so she has 78 likes, and she's not even, this isn't even her thing. Like, she's not trying to get the most social media likes, right? She's not. She's just a person out there living a great story. And then last but not least, here's her doodle dog. Grandmoms and grandpums won Christmas with the Chewbacca doodle toy. You know, and she gets pretty good response on that. But again, she's just telling a great little story, and I love what she's up to in the world. And she makes me want to be part of it too. You know, like when she's on the campaign trail, that is a 24/7, 365, full-on kind of thing. And I love her work and I love her spirit. Next up is Tim Metcalf. I've worked with Tim for close to 5 years now with the world's largest brat fest, and then with the Metcalf's brand as well. But I'm sure most of you in this room know a little bit about his story, right? Because he's a local guy who's done really well. And he's an advocate for homeless in our community. That's a newer thing. Bratfest has raised over $1 million for local charity. It's all about bringing community together. He has 4 stores, one at the airport, one on the west side of Madison, east side of Madison, and another in Wauwatosa. And he's also a developer in town and a visionary for our community and someone who cares. So this is a picture that, for those who knew Tom, his dad, like Patricia, she found this very endearing. To see a picture of my dad and his brother, a picture of my dad and his brother Jerry. Hard for me to think of Dad as precious, but I think this picture of him is precious. Now, when you think of Tim Metcalf, the business guy, you may not think of a guy who would even use the word precious, right? Okay. But precious, yeah, and it is precious. And you know that there's love in that family. And I love that he tells that story and lets that part of him shine out. This is from the homeless work that he did last year. Did everybody raise their hand if you knew about that story? Did you know? Okay, great story. It literally started with a Facebook post. That's it. And they ended up raising $50,000 for the homeless community and shining a light on a real dark problem. They also went undercover as homeless people for a couple of nights. I knew that was going down. Had a camera crew follow them around for a few days just to see what it's like. What's it like? And who are these guys? And Tim said that one of the things that surprised him the most, I'm just going to go here for a minute, is that most of those guys got up in the morning, put on their boots and their clothes, and went off to jobs. So working poor who, for whatever reason, through drug addiction or other crises in their families, they just having to pay child support, which is a good thing, but they just weren't able to make ends meet, and this is how they ended up in this place, and he was just blown away. You know, so he went inside, and I thought that was great, but he also invited all of us into his great story, or into the story, I should say, because it's really our story. Madison's our community. That's something that he really understands and embraces. So breaking news, our very own Land's End just called and is donating $30,000 worth of men's, women's, and children's winter jackets, gloves, hats, boots, and much more to the Madison Homeless Outreach Mission tomorrow night in Madison. Please, please email, tweet, and Facebook them and tell them how much this means to our Madison area homeless community. Hashtag paying it forward, big time. And then he has some other people. He got 330 likes, 37 comments, 147 shares. It's tremendous. But again, he's not saying, throughout this whole process, he wasn't saying, I am a great community member. He's saying, join me in this mission. Come alongside me. Let's go do something fun together. Let's make a difference together. And I love that about his post. And then speaking to the real side of his life, he's, over the last few years, he's actually become much more athletic. This year he's going to do a triathlon, and he hates swimming. So we've all been hearing about how much he hates swimming. You know, but this is him at the top of a mountain, and he said, tough ride, 6,183 vertical climbing, 37.95 miles, climbed up to 12,000 feet at Independence Pass. Last 2 miles were over 2,000 feet of vertical climbing alone. Glad to see this sign. You know, so he's human. He's human, and I love that. Love that about his story. So remembering that when you're posting, to tell real stories, to use real words that use with real people. Tom's shoes. So we're going to go to a couple of national brands real quickly. Do most of you know who Tom's is? Right, okay, so I want a pair of shoes from there right now. I really do. There's a pair from Haiti, but that I really like. They hand paint them, and they're really cool. And the deal is, it's 1 for 1, right? I buy a pair, and I get to give a pair to some kid somewhere else. I actually heard Blake Mykowski speak a couple of years ago at the Global Leadership Summit. And most of you know his story, young entrepreneur, guy who just sees a problem. He's like, these kids don't have shoes, and because they don't have shoes, they get sick, and this isn't good. And so he had like $40,000 on him or something through the sale of another business, and he could have just started a nonprofit with that. But he thought, I don't want to do that. Like, I want people to be invested in a different way. And he came up with this 1 for 1 idea, which has now gone into other parts of, other companies are doing this as well. And what I like about Tom's story, and I'm going to actually have you guys take another break here and we're going to work on this together, is that it is a big story. So if you can all go to his social media site. I'm not going to show you some examples right now, but one of the posts from last night that I actually forwarded to a friend was of a Jeep and a giraffe out in some remote area. And it said something like, the journey is so much better when you're not alone, or something like that. And I thought, that's perfect. So I sent it to my friend Haley, who's a sophomore at the UW, and I said, isn't this great, or something like that? And she goes, oh, that's perfect. You know, so because it is, and it makes you, I don't know, she's a world traveler now. She's done some missionary work around the world, and I just knew it would really resonate with her. And it resonates with a lot of students today. A lot of people under 30 are traveling more. They're taking a year to just go and explore the world. They're doing trips while they're in school. So Tom's really is buying into that. And he's allowed himself to be part of the story. I'm going to go back to that real quickly before I turn it over to you guys, just in case you don't know as much about the brand as I do. But one of the stories he told at the Global Leadership Summit was about his, when he first sold the shoes and they first got out in the marketplace. He's at an airport, he's punching in his stuff to get on a plane, and this woman's wearing a pair of Toms. And he looks over at it and he goes, really like your shoes, right? Because he's like trying to connect with her in some way, but not really tell her. And she goes, oh my gosh, they're from Tom's, thanks. And then he keeps doing his thing, and she grabs him by the shoulders and she goes, you don't understand. This is the greatest company ever, right? And so she goes on to tell him all about this great guy who lives on the sailboat, who decided to do this 1 for 1 thing, and blah, 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 blah. And finally he looks at her and he goes, I'm Blake. And she goes, oh my gosh, why did you cut your hair? Right? So that's Tom's shoes. So we're going to take a minute, and these are the elements of story. A strong theme, a fascinating plot. These slides will all be available on the Quill. I'll give them to the social media breakfast people too, so that you can put them on your site. I'll put it on the LinkedIn site as well. But a strong theme, a fascinating plot, unforgettable characters, a well-chosen setting, and an appealing style. So I'm going to have you just take a minute and do a quick case study yourselves and try to come up with these answers in small groups. All right, so we're going to just take 60 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes. All right? So for Tom's theme, sorry, I'm going to do this one more time. Wait, pause. Strong theme. What is Tom's strong theme? What is his fascinating plot? Unforgettable characters. What are the unforgettable characters? It would probably be Blake and then you, because you're part of the story. A well-chosen setting. Where is Tom's setting? It's all around the world. So I'm giving you a few of these up front. And then, an appealing style. Why would that resonate with his audience? All right? Are we clear? So, and what would strong theme be? Come on, we'll just do it as a group. One, come on. I'll just do the first one as a group, all right? So strong theme would be what? Anybody? 1 for 1. 1 for 1, right. Kids get free shoes. A fascinating plot. What's the plot? You can help. You can make a difference. Betsy's got all the answers over here. She's on my team, so that makes sense. Okay. Unforgettable characters. What's that? Real people making a difference, right? And Tom, or Blake Mikowski himself, really leads that. He was on, what's that show? Come on, you guys know this. It's like a Survivor-like show. Amazing Race, right. He was on that before all this happened, and then that helped launch him and his brand. And you're also one of the unforgettable characters too, and I think that's what that last post really did that I shared with you about the giraffe and the Jeep. You get to be one of those unforgettable characters in his story just by buying that shoe. Or like the shoe that I want from Haiti, they're hand-painted. And Haiti's such a poor country. And it's $68 for this really pretty simple shoe, which is more than I would spend. I probably didn't spend that much on these. You know what I'm saying? But I love the story, and I love that I would get to wear art on my feet, and I love that I'd get to be able to help other people. And you know what else I love? What? That people will say, you're a good person because you're wearing Toms. Right? I mean, if it's that easy, sign me up. Okay. All right. So let's, a well-chosen setting, obviously they have a global landscape to work with anywhere around the world where people are struggling, and then an appealing style. I want to be part of a story bigger than myself. And there's a whole generation of people that really, really identify with that. There are others as well, but there's a favorite quote that I have from Ben Franklin. It says, we must hang together, or we most assuredly will hang separately. Firmly believe in that. All right, Moose Jaw. How many people, does anyone in this room know Moose Jaw? Because it's a Canadian company. There's couple of really cool people in the room, right? Because you guys are cool, right? You would have to be to know Moose Jaw. So I actually know the creative director for Moose Jaw Mountaineering. I met him a few years ago at a conference where he was speaking, and then I actually invited him to come and help the national organization that I was part of to work on our brand, because I thought he was so good at it, and he was younger. So this was with the National Retail Federation. In any case, Gary comes up with these kinds of ideas. So this is Moose Jaw's breakup or makeup service. Yeah, so if you want to break up or make up with somebody, you can actually have Moose Jaw do it for you. Now, kid you not. Now, Beth's chuckling back there because she's considering it, I can tell. And listen to their voice. And this actually goes back to message strategy for those of you who have more of who want to dive in deeper. But in our humble opinion, unless you're from the Netherlands, a penguin or just really tall, relationships are dumb. Sorry if you're in one right now. I'm not sorry because of what I said, but I am sorry you're in a relationship. Up until now, the Moose Jaw Relationship Management Department has been used exclusively for putting the kibosh on relationships and helping our custies make a clean break. This year, we're expanding our services to include those of you who aren't ready to let go, so you can make up. You download the Moose Jaw Facts cover letter, fill it out, email the attachment to Lloyd at Moose Jaw. Notice it's a real person, and we'll send your fax out within 24 hours, so give it a day before you do anything drastic. I'm going to show you the letters in just a moment. Here's my personal experience with this, because I actually did this, all right? So a few years ago, just getting to know Gary and his team and things like that, and they posted that they would break up with somebody. Their customer service reps were slow, and that they would do that for me. And I thought, that's fantastic. I want to get picked to break up with somebody, right? Because I want to see how this whole thing works. And so I decided to break up with my art director, and because I had to pick an employee, because what else are you going to do? And so he's at lunch and he gets this phone call, right? Which he doesn't answer. He lets it go to voicemail because it's from somebody he doesn't recognize. But they literally called him and said, "Hi, this is Brett from Moose Jaw Mountaineering. I'm calling because Laura wants to break up. She wants to break up with you because you don't respond quickly to her emails, and she feels sort of, neglected." And so, so sorry about that, dude. But if you, Or she did say that she would like to be friends, but that really never works out anyway, so yeah, good luck. All right? That's what actually happened, and we saved the call for a long time. He came back to the office, he's like, what the heck? What was that? It was great, wasn't it? I just wanted to see if they really did it, and they really did do it. All right, so here's Moose Jaw Mountaineering's breakup, or actually this is the one that I think gets us together. No, this is the let's get back together thing. I trust this letter finds you well. I wish I could say that I am well writing this, but unfortunately I'm not. My passion for you has not waned in the time that has passed since we were last together. If anything, your absence from my life has made me pine for you now more than ever. Yeah. I recall a time in the winter of '08, you guys are reading this, and never did a lady witness the budding of a flower with more requisite pleasure than did I the budding of our courtship. This has not wavered, nor will I, until I get to caress your sweet caboose once again. There we go. It is a full declaration of love I wish to bestow today through this fax machine, and with any luck, this wish may be reciprocated yours affectionately via Moose Jaw Relationship Management Team. And then next, to whom it may concern. So this is the breakup letter. If you are reading this letter, I regret to inform you that the sender has opted to no longer associate with you romantically. They also wanted you to know that they did not come to this decision easily and insist that it's them, not you. If you believe you've received this fax in error, we urge you to contact your significant other directly or just admit you're in denial because nobody faxes anymore. So, regards, the Moose Jaw Relationship Management Department. This part's genius because this is what everybody does when they break up. P.S. Please return any personal property belonging to your significant other within 10 business days of receiving this notice. That's how it goes down. So they know their audience really well, right? And they're having fun with their brand, like some of the different brands that you mentioned earlier. All right, so are you starting to get, and so let's try this one more time with you guys doing the work of strong theme, fascinating plot, unforgettable characters, just using the Moose Jaw Mountaineering as an example. And just a couple of words on each one. What do you think their theme is, just from the limited knowledge that you have? They sell mountaineering clothing, and you two ladies can speak to that more, the skydiving, kind of high adventure, really, really fun stuff. And they'll take returns, and even on their website and all those kinds of things throughout all their channels, they're having fun with the brand. When they sign things off, it's Love the Madness, Lola. Is that a hot name or what? Like, yeah, it's a hot name. All right, Love the Madness, Lola. And so they're having fun with it, and they have a voice, and they have a persona, and they've done message strategy clearly. So let's go ahead and just take a minute and see if you can kind of map this out for yourselves, because this is what you need to do with your own brands. You know, don't start with the content and just start pushing out information without really knowing who you're talking to, what the story is, and why it matters. Why should I care, right? All right, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. All right, yes.
Where is that fax? Is it on your Facebook page? What is?
It's on their website, and they tell it through Facebook and Twitter and all their social media channels. Yeah.
And they post some of their copies of their letters they send out and who they're sending them to or something. So.
Well, they wouldn't say who they were sending them to. That would be kind of harsh, but. I don't know, that's a pretty public breakup. You know, and actually, I think it was Heineken. I just posted this one recently too, the beer thing that they did for Valentine's Day, where there's a Valentine's in a box where they out people, so you have to tell people. So, you know, companies are kind of going into these fun spaces. I can post that a link to that campaign on there too. I didn't get any results for it, which is one of the reasons I didn't share it today. Like, it hasn't been posted yet, how successful they were with this date in a box idea. That they did, but I loved it. I thought it was great. So let's go ahead and drive through the strong theme. What's the strong theme that you think Moose Jaw is trying to get across? Fun? American Family. I know you guys were working hard. You guys got anything over here, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of right along the lines of fun and, you know, just catchy. I mean, we kind of believe that it was driving the. I mean, it's completely different from their business, so. You know, it creates a fun thing to then draw and drive traffic to their site.
Yeah, it does. They're connecting with people in a real way. There was a post that they did last night. Noticed a lot of girls shaving their heads lately. I bet they save a lot of money on shampoo. Genius. You know? So, you know, they're just connecting as real people. Jason?
Relationship building, because they are there might be relationships breaking, but they're building some relationship between that one person who has sent in, but who either is broken up with or making up with. So it could be a multiplier.
So as a brand, they're really saying, we're here for you, right? We're here for you. Like, we got you. Got your back. You're covered. It's all good. A fascinating plot. What's the storyline? Anyone want to take a stab at it? Ooh, a bunch of quiet people. So the storyline really is about adventure. If you look at their whole social media channel, it's really about adventure. You're the star of your own story, but we've got your back. You're still kind of covered by that parental helicopter thing in a sense. Moose Jaw's playing that role now. But if you look at some of their other posts, like I said, it's really about adventure. Going skydiving, going skiing, on some amazing mountain, those kinds of adventure stories, and that's part of the plot. And then again, they're connecting with you on this personal level. Unforgettable characters. Anybody? Lola. Yeah, exactly. Love the madness, Lola. And Lloyd, the breakup specialist guy. And I'm sure if you really got close to this brand, you'd find out that they have different characters that really do stand out. I mean, I don't know anyone named Lola. I haven't heard that name since, 1977 or something? Right? Okay. A well-chosen setting. What do you think the Moose Jaw setting is, just from the limited amount that you've seen? It's probably that post-20-something, environment where they're also doing some really fun adventure and travel. But it seems that if you're in that age group, you really want to be a part of. Where are those Moose Jaw women? You guys know this better. Right here, yeah. What would you say? Okay, what did you say?
She said I was in the middle of tweeting, sorry.
Okay, that's great. Tweet on. Do you guys think what do you think their well-chosen setting is?
I mean, I would say that they try to take people as a global whole and bring everyone together in different types of scenarios. If that makes any sense, it totally doesn't make sense. You can't put me on the spot like that.
Okay, all right. Then I'll just move on. Go ahead, we were going to say.
I thought one of their settings was their office. They do some cool
Yes.
things, like they had a video that they went to the roof of their building and they threw salami to cars passing by. And it was hilarious.
Did everyone hear that about the salami thing? They actually did that. They've been doing that for a while. What do they call that? Salami. They're throwing salami at cars, you guys. That's just bizarre. And I know there's a woman in the middle here who's going, well, you got to be kidding me. Isn't that illegal? It probably is. But I think that's the point. They do things like that. Their office dog is part of their story. We love that. We love dogs. Dogs are always a great thing to put into a story. And then an appealing style. What's their style? It's irreverent. It's fun. It's a little bit yes, go ahead.
I really like the idea of using a fax, instead of breaking.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's, who would think of getting a fax as a break?
Yeah.
It's still funny.
For those of you who are friends with Mark Levicut, he just posted what was that? It wasn't a Commodore 64, but it was something like that, right, from the police department?
Oh, one of our original laptops. It was from 1989.
Yeah, and he got a lot of great response from that because, we kind of remember, and that's fun. And again, that goes back to connecting. And I'm going to give you those gut check questions to ask before you post. So that you don't post lame posts, right? I don't want to post lame posts either. I want to post things that are interesting to my friends, that mean something to them, that invite them into a story that's maybe bigger than themselves. I'm going to walk you through a couple of local clients because most of us aren't working with gazillion-dollar budgets or staff like a company like, Moose Jaw isn't that big, but you may not have that. It may just be you, right? And you have to figure it out for either a client or yourself or your own brand. So this is one of the local companies we work with. They actually have offices in Madison, Milwaukee, and the greater Chicago area. It's a relatively new company. I've worked with the owner, though, since the early 90s. Been a client of creative companies. So the first thing that we would start out with when we're meeting with clients is a message strategy. What's the first thing that most people start out with, though, when they're doing social media? Content. I'm just going to write some posts. Just get me some posts. I just want something up there so I don't look like I'm dead in the water, which is, frankly, how most brands come to us. They maybe opened up the Facebook page. They got 50 fans. And now they're going, what do we do with this, right? And so where do we take it from here? We would start with message strategy and a persona. I didn't get into persona for this because I didn't. But Patricia on our team actually does an outstanding job of leading that area of our business. So the theme, though, is enjoy your life. It's the good life. for lawn bot. So it's a robotic mower that mows your lawn for you. Kind of like a Mr. Belvedere for your backyard. Not, kid you not, the thing goes out in the morning and mows and then comes back in the garage 4 hours later while you're at work. I know, isn't that great? Who wouldn't want one of those? The plot is you never have to mow again. Unforgettable characters, we obviously have the robot, which you're going to see in a minute. I'm going to show you some actual posts from but we get to play with the robot. The robot gets to go in hiding. The robot gets to go play in the snow, not so much. And dogs, because the same owner who owns this company also owns Invisible Fence. We do play a lot with pets. A well-chosen setting, a beautiful manicured lawn, one that your neighbors will envy. An appealing style, your neighbors will have robot envy. Now, I actually had the owner of this company come and speak at an event, and all the guys pull out their phones. They won't do this if their kid's at a baseball game nearly as easily as they will a robot at the Madison Club. I'm just telling you, they all pulled out their phones and they're all taping the robot running around the Madison Club. You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, so robot envy is real. And I'm going to show you a few of the posts. So this is one. The big guys get some well-deserved press. Giant robotic mowers go where the old-fashioned mowers can't. And this is the Illinois Tollway's new robotic mowers and how they cut grass. This one's one of my favorites. Is he done mowing yet? Not yet. How much longer do you think we'll have to stay up here? Until he's done, I guess. Hey, budge over. Help. I'm slipping. It's just fun and it's cute. And who doesn't love a good puppy? Check out this one. Yeah, so well, sure, hiring the neighbor kid to mow our lawn could work out okay, or not. This job sucks. And then this one I love, creeping closer, we see the normally busy lawn bot in hibernation mode, patiently awaiting the first blades of grass poking up through the snow cover. And it's a winter post, yeah. So giving some voice to the robot, right? Just giving some voice to the robot. And then this is, just a fun, complete the sentence. Hey kids, it's gonna be sunny and 80 all weekend. Let's get out there and mow the lawn is not the right answer. Nobody wants to mow the lawn, and we know that about their audience. Here's another one, message strategy for Invisible Fence of Badgerland. The theme is love. If you love your pets, what do you not let them do? Run out into the street and get hit by a car, right? So plot, don't let Poochie get run over, keep them safe. Unforgettable characters, the dogs, a well-chosen setting, it's your backyard, most of the scenes are in that genre. And then an appealing style, giving animals voices and some character. So here's a couple. So I like the autumn one actually. Just taking a sec to say that autumn was awesome this year. The leaves being outside, running and jumping, loved every minute of it. Thanks for calling Invisible Fence of Badgerland. That's just from your dog's standpoint. And this one is actually, this goes back to, I think American Family had talked about Russell who? Just kidding. Invisible Fence actually helps out with the local fire departments providing pet-sized oxygen masks. Can everybody go, ah? Ah, right. So it's just sweetness and bringing those kinds of things into the story. And then still the best dog Halloween costume we've seen. Yeah. I think I'm just going to sit there with your laughter for a minute because that's great. So a quick gut check. Will what I'm about to post create engagement, make the audience smarter, look out for the interest of my audience, be convenient, is content easy to access, and give readers something to talk about? That is the question. I want to share one more thing with you. David Lippiett from We International is here. David, can you just maybe wave to everybody? We actually work with We International, help build their website. I've known David for probably 4 years, something like that. Long time. Saved my neck today, got me a water, which I really appreciated. But this is actually one of David's favorite books. And I don't even know why that matters, except that it's one of mine too. The author wrote another book called Blue Like Jazz, which is actually my favorite of his books. But this one is all about story. Donald Miller is a storyteller. And he wrote this book called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. After he did Blue Like Jazz, which was a New York Times best-selling book, movie producers came to him and said, we want to make a story of your life. And he said, cool, right? And then they said to him, unfortunately, your life isn't that interesting. So we're going to have to do some things. And then they walked through with him the elements of story to make his story more interesting. And it did, in fact, become a movie. And it's one of my favorite movies, too. But if you want to read about how to tell, and actually, I should explain. It's not just about telling a great story. This book is about living a great story. This is about getting out of yourself to some extent and really getting into the world and giving more. So he ended up, as a result of going through that process of doing the movie, Donald Miller ended up starting an organization to help kids whose fathers had left them. And there are or who were abandoned in one way or another through the loss of a father. A lot of kids growing up in our country without dads. And he realized himself that as much as it was fun to be a New York Times bestselling author, he wasn't living a great story. And he wanted to write a better story with his own life. So on a very personal level, I'd pick up this, and they walk you through the elements of story in here too. So again, all of these slides will be available on, I'll put them on your LinkedIn page, they'll be on Creative Company's website, we'll tweet them and Facebook them, we'll put them on your social media websites for Social Media Breakfast too. And the key, what we talked about today were the keys to a great story. And storytelling makes all the difference in the world. It's not just about content. It's what is a story? What is a story? What is a story? I will tell you, now I'm going to tell you this at the end of the speech, even though that my coach said don't tell them this story. Yeah, I'm going to tell you anyway. When I went to put together this speech, right after Levicott tweeted me, I better get that done. The first thing I did was that I put together a bunch of slides about analytics, right? About how storytelling actually does impact net worth. It just does. Just so you know, I got the slides on that. I didn't show them to you today. And here's the reason why. I had those slides, I had some other slides about story, and then I had some other slides about social media and how impactful it is, right? So I got like 16 slides put together, and I was just exhausted. And I looked around my house, because that's actually where I was building this thing, and I thought, you know what the problem is? I don't have the story. Like, I don't have a story to tell you guys. I need a better story myself. And I did exactly the thing that you're not supposed to do, right? I started with content and not with what's the story. So if you start here in this other place, you're going to save yourself a ton of time. What's the story you're trying to tell for your brand? Here at Creative Company, we pull out message strategy for every client whenever we're in doubt. What's the message strategy? What's the message strategy? Does it align with that persona? If it doesn't, we don't post. It's that simple. So it becomes this way of guiding where you're going, of knowing where you're going. So keys to a great story, the tools to make your brand stand out, really, truly, if you implement these things, things will change. Really, you'll create real engagement with your audience because you're gonna have more personality in it, more real, no more pictures of boring buildings or people, right? And then hopefully you will get promoted to rock star social media status. And with that, don't you just love him? Isn't he fun? Have you seen the video with him and Will Smith breakdancing or whatever? Yeah, I know. See, they wouldn't let me show that today. I know, I'm a really fun person. I would have showed that. But if you have any, I just love him and I'm so excited for him. But there is some question about whether or not he's going to be successful, so I thought that was a good slide to end with.
We have a little thank you for you.
Oh, cool.
Presenting for us.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.